This is the last news video of the day, and I will do this a little bit differently than the last one. I will get the small news out of the way first, and then make. I wanted to get the big news out of the way first, but we may get the small news out of the way first, which is I just wanted to note, in case I messed it up yesterday, that Josh Alexander's record-breaking title reign in Impact Wrestling is 257 days as Impact Wrestling World Champion. I think for whatever reason, I may have said 247, not 257. So if I did, I do apologize. I do keep notes, but I don't always go specific with the notes because I don't necessarily have the room. But either way, congratulations to Josh Alexander for becoming the longest reigning Impact Wrestling World Champion in the history of that promotion. Because in my opinion right now, there ain't nobody else that deserves it. Either way though, Josh Alexander will be defending his Impact Wrestling World Championship against Bully Ray at Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill on Friday, January 13th. That aside, it was announced that on January 21st, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 will be taking place, and it will include inter-promotional matches between Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan, as we will see Noah versus New Japan on Wrestle Kingdom 17 Night 2 from the Yokohama Arena in Yokohama, Japan. We saw this last year with matches between Noah and New Japan taking place on Night 3 of Wrestle Kingdom, but because New Japan has not overcrowded the Wrestle Kingdom card this year, I think these matches should be a little bit more well received, as I believe it's Naito of Los Ingobernables de Japón against Congo against the leader of Congo, which is a top stable in Pro Wrestling Noah, and I'm sure that there are going to be other matches, including, more than likely, the six-man tag team match involving Keiji Muto, Sting, and Darby Allin against opponents yet to be determined, which I just figured out that's when the card is going to be, because it is Wrestle Kingdom 17, Night 2. So this actually could lead to some more interaction between Sting and fellow New Japan stars, because New Japan is going to be in the building as well, and may want Sting before he retires. And I think, can you imagine Sting against somebody like Okada or Hiroshi Tanahashi? Because you might say, oh, well, Sting can't wrestle the Japanese style. I mean, I know Sting's not going to wrestle a singles match, but tag team match? You never know. Either way, January 21st will definitely be an interesting turn of events. And I love how New Japan is taking care of their fellow smaller promotion by running a show. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that Bushiroad, New Japan's owners, also own and operate Pro Wrestling Noah. So it's like Tony Khan doing a co-promoted event with AEW and Ring of Honor, which I'm surprised that Tony Khan has not done, considering the fact that he owns both of them. But maybe, just maybe, when Ring of Honor is in more of a stable position, we might see Ring of Honor and AEW do a show together at some point. But that is something that maybe we'll see at a later date. Right now, though, Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan are set to work together on January 21st for Noah versus New Japan at the Yokohama Arena And it is aptly titled Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. Speaking of Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, though, there is somebody who might be having his final night at Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan, and that is former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Jay White, who challenged Hikuleo, the man who challenged Carl Anderson, or a recent challenger for Carl Anderson's former Never Openweight Championship. He challenged Hikuleo to a Loser Leaves Japan match, which is leading to speculation that the Bullet Club leader and Switchblade, the self-proclaimed ace of New Japan, could be leaving the promotion after January 21st, which will unquestionably lead to speculation of Switchblade Jay White making the jump to WWE. Because at that time, the Royal Rumble would be right around the corner. And just because Cody Rhodes ain't going to be a surprise for the Royal Rumble doesn't mean that WWE will not have some surprises up their sleeve for the start of the road to WrestleMania. Or the start on the road to WrestleMania, I should say. Because they always have a way to surprise us, good, bad, or indifferent. WWE always has a way to surprise us at the Royal Rumble, in the Royal Rumble, every single year. Last year, it was the bad, but it's not always that way. Sometimes it's the good. I think either way, Jay White would become one of the biggest success stories for New Japan if indeed his contract is up and he is leaving and he is choosing to leave. It may not have anything to do with anything other than the fact that Jay just wants to do something a little bit different and feels like he's accomplished everything he possibly can in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which at this point, I don't think that's too far-fetched to say that Jay White has, in fact, accomplished everything he possibly can in New Japan. Because what is there left for Jay White to accomplish outside of maybe being tag team champions? But how often do top stars like Jay White become tag team champions? This isn't WWE. Would Jay White leaving have a big hole like the likes of which we haven't seen since Kenny, Cody, and the Bucks leaving New Japan for AEW? I wonder if that might be the reason why New Japan put the United States title, or gave the United States title, to Kenny Omega, because they knew that Jay White was leaving, so they put the belt on somebody that can replace Jay White as far as star power is concerned, because Kenny also worked New Year's Dash earlier today, teaming with Okada against Jeff Cobb and somebody else whose name is escaping me. But that just shows that Kenny may be working a little bit more often in Japan, as, for those who may not know, Wrestle Kingdom 17 was Kenny's return to Japan for the first time since AEW started as a promotion. Because Kenny had been gone from AEW since AEW started. I mean, Kenny had been gone from New Japan since AEW started, I should say. And the only question is, in my opinion, what does this mean for New Japan's title scene if Jay White does end up leaving? I think that the only person that knows that is Gato, who's been booking New Japan, and booking New Japan quite well for a very, very long time. But I think New Japan will be fine, because, not to compare them to Ring of Honor, but when Ring of Honor lost their top stars to AEW, Ring of Honor did not recover But in my opinion, AEW has. I mean, New Japan rather, not AEW. When New Japan lost their top star, the same top stars that Ring of Honor lost, Ring of Honor was never able to replace them, but New Japan did. So, there's that. And an interesting bit of news. According to Kurt Angle on the A2DK wrestling show, which is appearance on a wrestling podcast, he said this: Bret Hart was always a dream match of mine from when I started in WWE. I always thought I'd have a match with him, but right when I came in, he left. He went to WCW, and unfortunately, he got knocked out, had the concussion, and then he had a stroke. Unfortunately, I tried to get Bret to wrestle at WrestleMania, I believe 21 and 22. I told him, listen, I'll do all the bumping and all the selling. I'll let you beat my butt. But I understood why he said no, because where I am in life now, I know I can't have the Kurt Angle match that fans expect. And Bret was trying to tell me at that particular time, I'm not the Bret Hart I used to be, and I'm not going to go out there and embarrass myself. Not that he would embarrass himself, but he wants to be at a level nobody else is. And that's where Bret Hart always was. And if he can't do that, he's not going to do it at all. Which is what we always heard with Steve Austin. That if Steve Austin can't go out there and be Steve Austin, then he doesn't want to go out there at all. But clearly, somewhere along the way, he was able to become Steve Austin again because he was able to do it at WrestleMania last year. The one difference is Steve Austin didn't suffer a stroke like the Hitman did. But according to Kurt Angle, honestly, that would have been one of the peak WrestleMania matches. And honestly, it probably would have been similar to what happened with Chris Jericho and Ricky Steamboat a few years ago when Ricky Steamboat came back for the handicap match, and then it ended up having another match with Jericho at Backlash after the fact. Bret Hart probably would have gotten another run and been able to end his WWE tenure on his terms, which unfortunately, fortunately he probably did, but not exactly on his terms, because I'm sure he would have been able to. He would have loved to have gone out with one more match that didn't consist of him and Vince McMahon. But WrestleMania 21 and WrestleMania 22, Kurt Angle did not do us a disservice with working with Shawn Michaels, or with Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. The triple threat match was underwhelming, but because of the time, not because of the talent. But either way, this have been my thoughts on wrestling, and I would love to hear your thoughts on anything and everything that I talked about in any of these videos down below, because I'm done for the day, and I will see you in the next one.